my name is Shane Sterner. This is my wife, Lisa. We've been remarried now 18 years, but if we would have went back to our first marriage, it would be 29.
Well, that's kind of a funny story. When I was 17 and he was 19, my mom decided that I was a spinster long enough. So when she was working with Shane at Fleet Farm and decided that she was gonna put a plan into action and told him that I had seen him in the store one time, thought he was good looking and he should call me. I had never seen him before, and so when I got home, she's like, don't be mad, and then so she told me what she did, and I don't know if it was the same day or the next day, he called me, and so then Christmas Eve, it was a day or two later, Christmas Eve is when we first met in person, and then from there we started dating, and when I was 22, we got married, so.
Well, the first thing I noticed about Lisa, like I was, we were very shy, very not really outspoken. We weren't partiers, we didn't do a lot of crazy things. I liked her because she was a lot like I was. She fit my mold, I guess. She was quiet. She was not loud or a lawbreaker or anything. So I guess that's why I thought she was pretty cool.
Yeah. I think for me too, we're.
And she was very pretty.
I think for me, it was very similar. We were both, we didn't go out. We didn't have that big social life type of thing. But what he did for me is that because we were both so shy, somebody had to talk. So that's where I had to take that lead and started talking. So then I became out of my shyness more and more as the years went on. But then, I don't know, we had fun together. We were able to do the same things or similar things together. And we like being with each other.
Well, obviously the most challenging thing was our divorce. That was a pretty tough time, especially for me. I'm sure it's for both of us, but believe me, if you don't feel anything for your partner at all, that's a rough thing to go through. And I know that we really went through a lot of hard times. That was probably the worst of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a couple miscarriages within that our first marriage time, and I think that for me pushed me out of the marriage more. We did not handle that well together. And it was too hard, and it was just, I was done. For me, it was pretty much the separation between feeling married and him feeling like a bachelor. To me, that's what it felt like. So he would do his own thing. He'd be out in the garage doing his own thing, I didn't feel appreciated for the things I did, things like that. And then when we had Jaron, I felt like a single parent, that my time away was when I got to go grocery shopping. He didn't want to or know how to at the time to really incorporate himself into this family dynamic, and that I just felt like I could not do anything right, but I also didn't really have a partner in the marriage. So for me, it just continued to wear on me.
Yeah, I'll give her that. I was pretty selfish. I wanted to live the married life but be a single guy. So I still like to go out and play volleyball 3 times a week or whatever it was. And I admit it was all about me back then. So I don't hold any grudges because of the way she felt about that. Jaron was obviously a wonderful addition to our life, but I don't know if I was ready for that. I can honestly admit it. That's a big life change.
We were divorced for 4 years. I think for me, it was really trying to find love then. And so dating, but God never would allow me to get anywhere with any of it. And but it was primarily for me, it was a season of trying to find the person that was gonna love me for me.
So obviously I didn't want this to happen, so I moved out. September 26th is the date that's etched in my mind because that's the day I moved out of the house. It was really difficult for me. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, especially when I had Jaren on my own. I mean, I was barely keeping myself together. It's amazing how much that tore me apart because I still loved her, you know, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't want it. But there were times where I was at my lowest point. So, yeah, I did not handle it well. She was always in the back of my mind. Yeah, sure, I went on dates here and there too, but it just wasn't the same. It was never nothing that I got glued to. Well, try to make this as short as we can. We had to deal with custody with Jaren, you know, where I had him on Saturday and she had him on Sunday. Well, eventually I wanted my whole weekends or whatever, so I said, can I have him for the whole weekend and we just swap weekends? Well, she goes, that's fine, but then I want you to take him to church. So I said, okay, you know, there's a two-sided coin to that because I just love to see her too sometimes. So yeah, I agreed that I'd take him to church. Well, you know, and then we got hooked up with another couple in church that invited me to their home fellowship group. You know, we were still separated at the time. And it's amazing how God just brought me in. And before even all this happened, you know, when you're at your lowest point with God, you cry out to somebody, you know, and I know that I needed help of some sort. I don't even know what I was crying out for, but I got involved with the home fellowship group, and you know, God just reeled me in.
Rob Frazier had asked, you know, well, how can we pray for you? And he goes, I want her back and stuff. He goes, all right, that's what we're going to pray for then. And yeah, I wasn't very happy because at this point, I had been coming to First Christian for a while. I had been baptized. I had accepted Christ. So I knew the power of prayer at that point.
It got me to the point whether this was going to happen or not between us, I had accepted Christ into my life. So it didn't matter anymore. That was my main focus. You know, and then when that happened, it's like, wow, something just totally turned.
And at this point, my heart was still hard because I remember Naji Colson said that I should come to his baptism for Jaren's sake. And from there, it wasn't long. It was probably within a week, I think.
Very short.
It was shortly after that. And it was like God's redeeming, going, I am not going to put you back together when you are unequally yoked. That's how, looking back at it, going, we got to take care of some stuff first. I woke up one morning and I've never experienced this before or after this. And it wasn't audible, but it was clear as day. I woke up and literally put my feet on the floor, and I heard God say, if you and Shane get back together, everything's gonna be okay. And I could not deny it. So I asked him to stay one time when he dropped off Jaren, and I told him what I sensed and what I believed we were supposed to do. He was dating somebody at the time, and he didn't really say much to me. And he left the house, he went directly to her house, broke up with her. I think the biggest thing is that he has to be the center. Shane touched on it, said that when he received Christ, he knew that no matter if I came back or not, that was his cornerstone now. I had to trust him to get us through this process, because as we went through this process, I mean, it was hard, because we, as humans, want to rely on feelings. And there was none. And then there was frustration. And then there wasn't anything good. So we had to both, you know, just rely on that relationship with God to get us to the point, but also others. You know, with Rob and Michelle, the time that they put in with us, we put them through a lot, you know, and we had to. We couldn't do this on our own. You know, God can do anything, but he uses people to help get his point across. And they were there so much for us, and family, you know, of course, encouraging it. They never shut the door on Shane. They always, you know, were ready to welcome him back at any second.
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest things that I've learned is this what God can do. You know, when Rob and Michelle made the parting of the Red Sea comment, I mean, this just doesn't happen. This doesn't happen out of happenstance. And, you know, and to see what God can do, you know, you just can't, it's only God.
Don't suffer in silence. I think a lot of people get to the point of divorce because they're battling it within themselves. You have to have God as the center, and it can't be about feelings. And you start to rely on your feelings. Well, I don't love him anymore. I don't care. you know, and we needed people to say that to us. And that's the thing, is that we needed a couple that wasn't going to baby us, but also was going to have compassion. And we got that, and we had a wonderful church that surrounded us, that encouraged, that was our cheerleaders.
Yeah, that's definitely the key. There's always somebody there that'll help you through this. Don't ever go it alone. If you're going to go it alone, you're going to fail every time. There's no doubt about it. God reaches out to you when you reach out to other people. And we've obviously learned how valuable a marriage is. God puts marriages together, and He doesn't want them to come apart.